All right, Math 1, this is our homework help video on parallel and perpendicular lines. All right, first and foremost, parallel lines are two lines that never cross each other. They're in the same flat plane, but they never cross each other. This is what parallel lines look like. Okay? What we also know about parallel lines is that they are linear. They are linear. They never cross each other and they're linear. It's two sets of lines or two lines that are in the same flat surface or plane that never cross each other. They are linear. The other thing that we know about parallel lines is that they have the same slope. Well, Miss Reyes, how do you know that they have the same slope? Because they don't run into each other. They have the same rise over run, rise over run, rise over run. Why do they have the same rise over run? Because they never cross. They never touch each other. So they have to have the same rise over run so that they never cross or they never touch each other. These are parallel lines. Okay, Miss Reyes, what about perpendicular? What's the difference between a line that's perpendicular and a line that's parallel? Well, perpendicular lines, they actually cross each other. But they don't just cross each other. When they cross, they form four right or 90-degree angles. This is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees. So not only do they cross, but they form four 90-degree angles. Okay? If they just cross but they don't form 90-degree angles, they're not perpendicular, they're just intersecting lines. They just cross. But lines that cross to form four right angles are perpendicular. Even if it looks like this, it's perpendicular if this is a 90-degree angle, if these are 90-degree angles, okay? They are linear still. Perpendicular lines are linear. But the slopes of a perpendicular line, remember the letter we use for slope is M. The slope of a perpendicular line are opposite reciprocals. No, I don't know how to spell reciprocal. I'm terrible at spelling. But which means that if the slope of this line is zero, one is zero, the slope of the other line is undefined. Okay? The slope, oh, sorry. If the slope of this line right here is a positive one half, okay, then the slope of the other line, the reciprocal, is 2 over 1 or just 2. And then since this is positive, this would be negative. Okay, so opposite reciprocal. If the slope is a negative 5 over 4, then the slope of the line that's perpendicular to it is 4 over 5, positive. One's negative, one's positive, and the reciprocal. If the slope of one line is a positive 7 over 8, then the slope of the other line that's perpendicular to it is negative 8 over 7. Okay? So perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Parallel lines have the same slope. All right, so let's look at this. We're going to draw a line that's, oh, well, they did a line that's parallel. That means they have the same rise over run. So let's draw a line that's perpendicular. A line that's perpendicular means they have opposite reciprocal slopes. So we need to find the slope of this line here. Okay? The slope of this line here is going to be -1. You went down 1 and you went to the right. 1, 2, 3. So -1, comma 3 is the slope of this line. So the slope of the other line has to be a positive, okay? And the reciprocal is going to be 3 over 1 or just 3, okay? Reciprocal. So now we are going to draw a line that's perpendicular. So I'm going to let's start here at the origin. Draw a line from here. You can start anywhere you want, but I'm just going to start at the origin because it didn't say where you could start. But I'm going to do 3 as the slope. So that's up, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. So this line right here is perpendicular to this line here. Okay? All right, let's do a line that's parallel. Find the slope. Remember, slopes are the same. So the slope here is going to be a negative. Where am I at? Negative 1, 2, and positive 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I reduce that, it's going to be a negative 1/2. Okay? So the slope of the line that's parallel has to also be a negative 1/2. So I can start anywhere. Okay? I'm going to start right here. I'm going to go, slide this up. I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 1, 2. Down 1, 1, 2. Down 1, 1, 2. Down 1, 1, 2. Down 1, 1, 2. Up 1 to the left, 2. Up 1, 1, 2. Up 1, 1, 2. Up 1, 1, 2. Up 1, 1, 2. And what we notice when we draw a line is that these lines have the exact same slope and they're never going to run into each other. Okay? They're never going to, that makes them parallel. All right? Let me go down here. I want you to do this one's perpendicular. Find the slope of this line and then write the slope that's perpendicular to it. You can start anywhere you want on the line and then you do the slope. You know, it doesn't matter because it doesn't say where to start. Just make sure that you have the slope right. So no matter where it crosses, it forms a 90-degree angle. So just like I did this one right here, you're going to do this one right here. And I started at the origin, but you don't have to start at the origin unless it tells you to start at the origin. Number 5, it says write an equation of a line that's parallel to this one. Okay, so I'm going to write an equation. Remember, when you write an equation, you have to have an M and a B. I'm going to write an equation that's parallel to this. So that means my new equation has to have the same slope. The slope has to be 4. The line has to go through this. So I'm going to find B. So I'm going to use this point, X and Y, to find B, and then that's going to be my equation. So remember, when I find B, I use the slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. And I substitute 1 in for y, m is 4, x is negative 3, plus b. So when I solve for b here, I multiply. This gives me a negative 12 plus b. To get b by itself, I'm going to add 12 to both sides. When I add 12 here, this gives me 13. So b is equal to 13. So my equation is going to be y, put 13 here, is equal to 4x plus 13. These two lines are going to be parallel. They have the same slope, okay? This one crosses at 2 and this one crosses at 13, but because they have the same rise over run, they're parallel to each other, okay? Let's do the one that is perpendicular. All right. So perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocal. So since the slope of this line is 4, the slope of the other line is going to be a negative, and the reciprocal of 4 over 1 is 1 over 4. So my slope of my perpendicular line is going to be a negative 1 over 4. Now I have to find B by using this point that the line goes through, that the other line goes through. So to do that, I'm going to use the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to substitute the new slope in. Remember, the slope is opposite reciprocal. So we have 5 is equal to a negative 1 over 4 times my x is 4 over 1 plus b. I'm solving for b. Make this darker so I can see it. All right, so when I multiply straight across here, this gives me negative 4 and positive 4. A negative 4 divided by a positive 4 is a negative 1. So this is 5 is equal to negative 1 plus b. When I solve for b, I add 1 to both sides. When I add 1 to both sides, this is going to give me 6. So b is equal to 6. So my equation is going to be y is equal to a negative 1/4 x plus 6. This line is perpendicular to this one because they have opposite reciprocal slopes. Of course, they cross in two different places because they're two different lines, but they're perpendicular because they have opposite reciprocal slopes. All right, so when you do these two, you need to write it in slope-intercept form first. Then you're going to find the slope. Parallel, so the slopes are going to be the same. Okay, and then you're going to follow the same process by using this point to find B. Same thing here. You first got to write this in slope-intercept form. After you write this in y equals mx plus b form, you identify what the slope is. Your slope is opposite reciprocal, like we did here. One is positive, the other one's going to be negative. And then flip it. The numerator becomes the denominator becomes the numerator. And substitute these points in to find B and write your equation just like we did here. Okay? All right, if you have more questions, just ask. Have a great day. Bye.